Hello everyone, today's skating spans from 2 different days, about a month apart. I haven't been skating as much this year, but this is January 1st, New Year's Day. I was driving, everything was closed, and I noticed this handicap bar and thought, hey, can I do tricks on this thing with my board and my feet and my butt? This video is also sponsored by Squarespace, the best website for building websites. More on that later. Everything about it looked really cool. It was a little rusty, so I really went in with the wax. But if you look at the top, there's actually like a 90-degree part to where if you board slide up it, you have to pop over that to make sure you don't hit it. And grinding up it is definitely possible. I think it's a little taller than you might think. If you see at the bottom, it's above my knee. So getting into any trick is gonna be pretty difficult. The initial goal was to drop in, but since it's so rusty, I knew I had to break it in. And doing this was so sketchy, I didn't wanna die, so I stopped. I also had brand new shoes on, so I was really scared that I was gonna miss my pop, because if you miss your pop on this going fast, you are sacking. There's no way out of it. It took a while for me to even get comfortable enough to stay centered on top. I kept leaning too far over, and then I would lean too far to the right. And I tried this for a while. I probably tried it for maybe about 15 minutes. And as I was trying it, I looked at the landing and just figured, if I land, I'm probably going to land in the actual hole. Like, I don't think I'll even land enough on the sidewalk to quickly veer to the left. I think because I'm going fast enough to go up it and fast enough to pop over the end, I'm going to be going too fast in general. So I unfortunately had to give up. You might think you should have just landed on one and seen what happened, but my brain was just telling me it's not gonna go well if you land on the board. If there was more of a landing, this spot would be so sick, especially if there wasn't the cross part of the rail. So next, the obvious choice was to battle the rail off the little drop, but it was so slick from earlier, so I kept shooting out, but also taking this left turn around the corner and hitting it. And also, like, I'm not used to skating rails to where if you land straight, you're gonna land on an edge and slam. You have to actually go over or come back. So it took a little while, and when I finally landed it, it felt pretty sketchy, but the first one I actually committed to, I rolled away, sort of. And then I was like, let's get one more better one, and that's the one that I ended up being pretty happy with. The next one I wanted to tackle was a Smith grind, and for whatever reason, I just got wheel bite right before I popped, messed up my ollie, and I didn't roll my ankle or anything, but just the way I jolted on my left foot actually hurt, and I thought I was gonna be out. But then I gave it about 2 minutes and I felt much better. This was a little harder because where I was getting onto the rail is actually higher than it was originally for the board slide. So now I'm ollieing like, halfway between my knee and my balls. So this was difficult, but the first solid lock-in I got, I landed it. I love Smith grind pop-outs because there's not as much danger aspect of a 50-50 where you can maybe shoot over, like your board will go to the other side because your board stays on one side. So I feel a lot safer doing a Smith grind than a 50-50, even though a 50-50 is actually easier. Like if I lock in right, I'm ollieing out. And the 50-50 I did much faster than the Smith grind. But I knew I had to actually do something up the rail, and I wanted to do a feeble transfer, but this is a really tall feeble. I mean, this is a tall flat rail. So the first one I even tried, got into a board slide and was like, okay, I don't even know if I can do this because I have to get high enough to get on the rail, but also high enough to have control of the trick to pop over. And as you can see with this one, I just stuck, and I was like, okay, how do I lean back enough to go up while simultaneously not leaning back enough to slam backwards and, concuss? I actually started getting the hang of it, and it really didn't take very long. It was maybe like 7 or 8 tries till I got one that I was pretty happy with. And I was stoked that I landed going fast enough to make it up the handicap ramp, because I thought I would just like land and ride back down switch. So then I thought, I wonder if I could do a front board shove. I'm not really sure if my front board shoves go over to the other side, but let's try it. And the first couple did not go well, and then there was this one that I tried to bail. My board went in the right direction, but I tried to put my feet further than the board was, and I ended up slamming and falling back. And I was like, okay, well, since both my feet and the board were on the other side, it's definitely possible. So after a good amount of tries, the first one I did, I landed a little sketch. I didn't like that I pivoted after I landed, but I knew I could do it at this point, so I just wanted to get a cleaner one, and I did. Even did it in a run with a fakie flip and a shove it up the, well, it's actually bigger than a curb, which we'll get into in a second because I did something I was pretty proud of, because this isn't as small as a curb. I also tried a couple front feebles, but with the turn in and with the angle and everything, I just felt like I couldn't get onto the rail early enough. I also didn't feel like I could ollie high enough, because with certain tricks, like getting up to the rail isn't the hard part. It's getting up there and having enough weight distribution to the back of your board. So then I thought it'd be a really cool clip if I just did a 360 flip off this drop, but then I did a 360 flip up. And as you can see straight ahead, this is about as tall as a two-stair, and doing 360 flips up stuff is pretty difficult. It's not something you see very often, but just my first try, my board got up there and I thought, oh, I could totally do this. So I ended up doing a couple more 360 flips off, but I got a 360 flip up that I was proud of. And my head, I'm like, oh, I should try to learn this up like a 3-stair, going straight at it. And you just have to tray flip so early to make sure that your board isn't hitting on the way up. Before we get on with our second and incredible session, a word from our sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace is the best website to build websites. They have award-winning templates you can choose from. You can also use AI now and just click in the sections that you want and they pop up. So you need zero design background to design really aesthetic websites. They also have email campaigns, which nowadays I would recommend to any creative person out there who's trying to build like an audience. An email campaign is the best way to engage with an audience because they don't need, there's no algorithm. If they sign up, they get your notifications. It's incredible. Also, I want to talk about how they work with Printful now, which is this third-party website that fulfills any type of merchandise. So you can pick the merchandise, put it on your website. You don't need any inventory. They'll ship it out for you. They'll even send you pictures of people wearing your product. So now anyone can have a clothing brand or a merchandise brand, which is so incredible. And you can just throw it straight to your website, Squarespace. They also have courses now, so you don't need a third-party website to add whatever type of course. If you have a specialty and you want to put a paywall behind something, I have a course, but it's completely free about skateboarding. You can actually put that on your site. You don't need all these other sites and stuff, so you can do everything in one place. It's incredible. So if you want to check it out and you want 10% off your first purchase or domain, you can go to squarespace.com/JohnHill or just click the link in the description down below. Now let's get on with this session. So I've only had 2 sessions since this session this year. I had the Jackie Chan skate session, which I don't even count as a real session because I was just filming a video trying Jackie Chan's tricks. But the next session that I actually had that was an actual session, how many times can I say session, was yesterday, February 18th. So 3 sessions in like close to 50 days. That is new to me, but luckily this session sort of got me back into it. This year started off really cold as well, so I didn't mind taking some time off and letting my body heal. And this skating that I did this day kind of showed that the break was well worth it. I was walking around with no intention to skate at all. I was filming a video on a separate channel about Dallas. I was kind of touring around and I was just walking in this beautiful neighborhood and I saw this 2-stair and I was like, how can I not skate a perfect 2-stair manual pad? I also got this new jug, so be jealous of that. The funniest thing is the first thing I tried was a manual and I missed it like twice. Like I couldn't do a single manual, which is insane for me. And when I finally got it, I sort of realized that, okay, if I do anything on this thing, I have to go pretty fast. It's about twice as long as what you would normally see with spots like this. It's not really that cool if you do a manual for a long time, but with tricks here, since you're going so fast, I felt like it was gonna look cool overall. So even though the manual took a couple tries, luckily the nose manual was first try because I realized, okay, you just gotta speed up a bit. The next thing I did was a kickflip manual. It took a couple tries, unfortunately. I think it took maybe 4 tries to do it. So I was definitely warming back up. Like I had to figure out how to kickflip right again, kickflip more accurately. And then for whatever reason, I thought, you know what I should try now? The hardest trick of the session, which is a kickflip nose manual. And at first, when I tried it, I was like, oh, well, it's not hard because, you know, it's like a 2-stair. But I was going too slow, even though I felt like I was going fast. Kickflip nose manuals or any flip trick in a nose manual is pretty scary. And if you're not going fast enough, you're just not gonna clear the 2-stair on the other side. The funniest thing is I ended up actually doing the kickflip nose manual so many times, I literally just couldn't go fast enough to get on the end, to get off the end. I was truly stressing, but it's been so long since I've had a session like this and had a place for me to just be frustrated and be out and about and be making skating and filming and art that all of it felt good. Like even the frustration, I was like, oh man, I'm so glad I'm going through this right now. This is great. The next trick was a kickflip manual kickflip, which I happened to do first try. That made me very happy. The next thing I actually thought would be a little easier. The first manual fakie attempt I did was terrible. Like I don't know what happened. And then there was another try where I even clipped on the way up, but I guess I was going fast. And I guess with this as well, there's a little crack beforehand. And I thought the crack would make it easier, but you have to pop before the crack. It feels like you're gapping up 3 stairs rather than 2 to get up there, but the fakie manual worked out. And it was a little confusing because all the brick, it actually made it a little hard to balance. So I kind of went off the end before I even thought I was ready, but luckily I didn't clip, so I didn't have to do it again. And then the next trick was a heel flip manual. I pretty much got into the manual every try, but my heel would like barely touch every single try. And I remember at one point I was like, all right, that's good. And as I was walking back, I was like, wait, do it. You didn't do it, your heel touch. You gotta go back and do it. So then it was the switch flip manual battle. And this was a bit tough. I had 2 tricks left in mind. I was really stoked on the session so far just because I thought this thing was cool, but I hadn't skated it switch and I thought, oh, it'd be a cool way to complete the session by doing a kickflip manual and a heel flip manual and then turning around and doing it backwards. The switch flip manual, I almost did like first or second try. And then of course, it took maybe another 20 or 30 tries to get close again. And I clipped the stairs. I got up and I balanced so well and I was so proud of it. Clipping the stairs is the worst feeling after like you battle it for a while. And then luckily I got another one towards the end. The last thing I did was a switch heel flip manual. The first couple did not go super well because I wasn't in the zone to do switch heels fast. I was just like trying to pop them high. But to do this, you really got to like flick your foot off quickly. And it really didn't take that long. I think this one was probably less than 10 tries, maybe 7 tries. And that was it. That's it for the narration. I actually had this like moment in the grass where I talked about how much fun I had, and I think it's worth sharing.
I don't know if there's anything as interesting as skateboarding. Like in terms of the actual activity itself and getting decent at it, it's just such a wonderful thing to be able to go around and like look at things, go on walks, but at the same time see something that's skatable and go, how can I play with that? Like it's not intended for this toy, but this toy can be used with everything. A way to play with the world. I feel like I was about to do a speech. It's just a way to play with the world that isn't intended. I think there's something really cool about that, like finding the magic in between. It's kind of the feeling I like in general with everything. Like if I can always find the magic in between things and a new way to utilize something that already exists, but in a way that feels new, that's just the coolest feeling. And skating is like a really somewhat easy way to do that. Same with like parkour and street sports, I guess, but nothing better than this. And I just feel so good. I'm so stoked on those tricks too, just very, very satisfied. And while I was at the beginning of the session, I was like, oh man, there's a lot of tricks I want to do. And towards the end, I was like, oh, there's 3 that I want to finish off with. And to be able to do those, like in my head being like, oh, I'm knocking them off and having that list finish in my brain, like such a wonderful feeling. Since this is my skateboard channel, I wanted to talk about a few encounters I've had in the last 48 hours by visiting Dallas, where I am right now, and running into skateboarders. I keep feeling like skateboarding is just not a thing here in Dallas at all, and I feel like it's kind of discouraging, and it's one of the reasons that I've been skating a lot less, because I just feel like I'm the only one in the city who skates. But in the last couple of days, like yesterday, I was passing by this newly built path that's opening up in Dallas downtown, and then I see spa skate parks on the side of a bunch of trucks, and I realized a dude stopped me and was like, John Hill? And he's like, dude, you've reviewed a bunch of our skate parks. And I'm like, wait, are you building this thing? And he's like, yeah, like skate park builders will sometimes get jobs building bridges or other areas. So they're building that, and then they're building a skate park up in Atlanta, or up in Austin. We had this long, fun conversation about the whole thing, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. And while I was talking to him, someone was running by and was like, John Hill? Oh my gosh, I used to watch your videos all the time. And he was like a runner, and he was in good shape. And then after I got done walking this trail on the way back, I saw 2 skateboarders, and I just immediately went up to them and was like, hey, what are y'all up to? And they recognized me as well, and we had this long conversation. It was super nice. So having 3 interactions in the same day, such a good feeling. And then today as well, I was filming at a park earlier, and somebody didn't recognize me at first. They just saw my shoes, and they're like, are those the Reynolds? I was like, no, they're the Tiagos. And he was like, oh, I recognize you. I think as soon as I started talking, it's so funny. I actually think some people recognize me when they hear me talking or when they see the camera, not actually like just right when they look at me. And then we had this long conversation about skateboarding, about how he's a photographer and he wants to shoot skateboarding, but he shoots other sports, and how there's no money in skating, blah, blah, blah. That's such a played out conversation on YouTube, but it's true, and a lot of skateboarders talk about it. So as a skateboarder, the last 2 days have been incredibly encouraging. And I also realized that being in a city or being in, you know, even LA or New York or somewhere, skateboarding feels a lot more alive. You see it a lot more often, and I think it makes it easier to be like, skateboarding, and be really proud and excited about it. And I can do that anyways, but it's just more encouraging when I see more people around me. I think sometimes when you're on the internet a lot and you see skateboarding presented in this very like specific way, where it's, whether it's like a sports thing or it's like YouTube commentary or something, or like YouTube in general, and then you go out in the real world and you skate and you have fun, it's such a different feeling. And I always forget, like, oh, this I'll love forever. The rest of it, it's okay, it's cool, it's great, but this is it. So the last 48 hours have just been incredibly encouraging. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Take care, progress daily, and keep killing it.